What's up, y'all? How you doing? Let's see. What are we doing? How is everyone? Michael, what's going on? I'm you. How are you? Let's see. Let me get my mic fixed. I'm actually considering, I think today might be the right kind of day to mess with my lighting a little bit. Because I've been thinking about cleaning up my setup just a bit. Like doing a little bit something different in here. But one of the biggest things I've noticed is I've been keeping my light too high. So you can kind of see, right? That's about where the light is. You can see where the shadow comes in. And I'm thinking I might actually want to bring my light here, right? And I guess we'll see if that makes sense, because really, if I do that, then we kind of want to shift everything just a little bit, but I actually think that would be okay. I also have a new monitor coming. What's up, Bridgewater? How you doing? And I'm excited about that too, because the folks at BenQ sent me their, it's the RD280, and it's like their 3x2 monitor. It's the one we use in Web Dev Challenge, but this one's on an articulating arm. And so I'm actually considering I might put that arm here, like have the monitor kind of sit here, which would then make the light make sense, because I'd be kind of looking here. So yeah. I guess we'll see how that goes. What's up, Sue? How you doing? Durgarao, is that right? I got that way wrong. I apologize. Matt from Pakistan, hello, welcome. V-Dog in Serio. Okay, so let's you know what? Let's do it, because it's fun to play with lights. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, how would I do this? What I'm thinking about is I might throw this continuity cam on. Let me see if I can add an extra camera here easily. Nope, that's not it at all. What am I doing? Cancel. Extra camera. And we want this camera, which should be here, and then it's going to do all sorts of weird stuff that I don't want it to do, where it tries to focus on the subject, which is a giant pain in my ass. Can I, when I do this, let's see, so this is my my continuity cam, right? And so what I'm going to try to do, if I can figure it out, somewhere up in these settings are the continuity cam settings. And if I can figure out how they work, because what I'm trying to do here is somewhere on here you can kind of see there's like an autofocus thing that it does, and I hate it, and I don't know how to fix it. So that's what I want to fix. All right. Other way around. Okay, so we're gonna see if okay, what's a continuity camera? Great question. So this is my iPhone, and on Mac OS, after a certain version, they added this thing called continuity cam, which is basically I can use my iPhone as an additional camera. And so the nice thing about it is, like, the thing that bugs me is, look at this. I will point my camera anywhere, and it will try to go back to my face. And the thing that's cool about that is, like, okay, great. If I'm like standing out here trying to do selfie cam, I want it to stay on my face. However, if I'm trying to point at literally anything else, it'll start zooming all over the place, and I can't figure out how to, like, let me try to take a video of my wall, right? I want to show you my wall. It will not let me show you the wall until I'm like pointed straight up. And then as soon as I go anywhere else, it tries to start like zooming in on other stuff, and I just can't. It's like, just calm down and let me show you what I'm trying to show you. What's going on? Welcome in, India. Let's see. Did I change the name of the channel? I did. We are Code TV now, and that was the idea behind Code TV. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about that for a quick second before I start messing with gear, because that's probably important. Because I think this is the first stream I've done under the new channel name. So last week, we rebranded. So I've been running under the name Learn with Jason since 2018, I think. Prior to that, I just had my channel named after me. It was just called Jason Lengstorf. In 2018, I started Learn with Jason, so I renamed the channel to be Learn with Jason. And then on, I think Monday or Tuesday, would have been Tuesday last week, I renamed the YouTube channel to Code TV. That's in the process of also, we rebranded, or didn't rebrand, but we just like launched the codetv.dev website, which I will share here. We have okay, so that's kind of the big deal, right? Is we updated the website. Codetv.dev is where you should go to find information now. Learnwithjason.dev will stay live, but we will consider, like, it will slowly start to shrink in size until it's more of a kind of like a landing page and probably a schedule for Learn with Jason. The blog and everything else already redirects to Code TV, so we'll just keep doing that. But now there's like a homepage for Web Dev Challenge. There's a homepage for Leet Heat. There's a homepage for mini projects that we did, like Do It Anyways. And there's like a part of that is that I've never really been comfortable with the idea of having a company that's named after me. So it feels to me like this was the right step to making it feel like a company and not like an outgrowth of my own personality, right? And the goals that I have for this, the vision that I have for where Code TV goes, is I want it to be a network. I want there to be creators from around the dev community making content that's fun to watch, and I want that to be hosted on Code TV. And it just didn't work to be like, hey, do you want to make a show and publish it on Learn with Jason? Like, it didn't make sense because I wouldn't be on it, right? But on Code TV, it does make sense. We can make, a series. And let me silence my stuff because that's going to get loud. I can make a series, and I think all of that kind of stuff. So basically, it's we want to make TV shows for developers. That's the plan. And not all of them need to be starring me. And in fact, we're already not doing that. Like Leet Heat, Mark Texan is the host. I'm in it, but I'm like a producer. I'm a fact checker, right? And we're talking about some new series that assuming we can get the funding together for them, they won't feature me at all. And to support that, like, we want it to feel like a TV network. It's Code TV. So that was the rebrand, and the goal behind all of that is just to make sure that this is a place that is, it's not about me, right? It has to be about us. And so that's the goal, is like Code TV is TV for developers. It's not like the Jason show. It's not Jason doing whatever Jason thinks is funny. I think it's more about, like, it needs to be TV made for developers by developers is sort of the goal. But yeah, so let's see. What did I use in the Code TV website? The Code TV website is built in Astro. Let me pull this screen over here for a second, and then I will. Oh no, where? Oh crap. What's going on? How do I get this over here? That's what I need. And then I'll pull this back over here, and then I can. Oh, that's not going to do it. Okay, so this is going over here, and then I can, good. Okay, so let me pull up the Code TV website, and then I'm going to share my screen. And we'll do the entire screen. There we go. All right. So this is the Code TV website. It has, you can kind of see it's got we've got some account stuff going on. We've got the different shows. So you can click in and see what's coming up on Learn with Jason and all of that. You've also got the ability to become a supporter, which I see a lot of familiar faces in the chat today. Thank you all for hanging out. And thank you so much for becoming supporters. It really does mean everything to me. We got the newsletter over here now. We've got the blog over here now. And then we've got a list of all of our shows. So some of the shows that haven't been updated in a while, or something that was a one-off, like this Do It Anyways. Probably won't do another season of Do It Anyways, but I might do something similar to it that will maybe show up as a separate project, right? And so now we have the ability to feature things on the homepage, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? All that good fun stuff. The other cool thing about this is that we have everything broken down into seasons. So you can go watch individual seasons of something. And then something like Elite Heat, it only has one season, so you only see the one season. But as we go forward, the episode 3 of Elite Heat is coming soon. And when we do that, we're going to drop it a week early on Code TV to supporters. So if you are one of the supporters, if you hit this support page, you are going to be able to get a week early access to Elite Heat. Soon in the sense of probably in a couple weeks, I think it'll come out. That's my plan. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thank you very much, Michael. I really like making that series. I do like the concept behind it, and I want to make more stuff like that. It's just going to be we'll see what form it takes. I don't know. Maybe we'll do another round to Do It Anyways. The list has grown a lot, and it is, this is so cool. I think we're at 30 people on the list now. It's just so awesome to know that people see they see what I see, and they want to see more of this made. And everybody who's kicking in on this is going to be they're directly funding new stuff, whether that's a season 2 of Elite Heat or whether that's another show. And honestly, if there's something you want to see, people have been pitching me shows, and there's some really good show ideas out there. So I would love to hear what you would want to see. We've heard people talking about developer dating shows, something like American Gladiator. I don't know how I'm going to pull that one off, because I think the insurance for things like American Gladiators is very expensive. So that one might not be in the cards, but but anyways, let's talk about the tech stack, because that was the original question. The original question was, what language did we use to build this? And this is an Astro site. The series data is in Sanity. So we have the Sanity Studio going here, and inside of it we have each of the series is listed, and then inside the series we have kind of details like the cover and stuff like that. Then you go into the collection, that's the season, and then you're able to see the individual episodes. So in one of these, we've got, all the details about the episode itself, who's in the episode, a quick description, a longer description, links to stuff, all the details that we want here, right? And that all ends up out here. So we click through, we've got, here's the series, here's the collection, and then we've got the episode. So here's the one we were just looking at. And so you can see we've got the video up here, we've got the longer description here, we've got the people who are in the episode. If we click through to one of these, you can see, once it loads, the first time it loads, I'm going to make this faster. Haven't quite figured out how yet, but we'll get there. And then you can see a profile. And so everybody has one of these. So if you go through and look at, let's see, I saw a VDog here. There's our guy. And you've got links like that. And then I saw, where's Charles? I saw, there you are. So we all have profiles. And that to me is very cool. I like that people can do that. So, and you might just barely recognize just a little bit of that Leet Heat branding because Charles was on an episode. So you're going to get to see this guy get his head blown off by some hot sauce. Not too long. Yeah, but lots of familiar faces. And again, thank you all so much for supporting it, right? It really does mean a lot to me. So the supporters are an interesting combo because we use Clerk for sign-in. So this is Clerk. So let me go. I'll sign in with GitHub. I think I hooked them all up. And then once we get in, it takes me to the dashboard, and yeah, I can see I've got, if I want to update like my avatar and stuff, it takes me out to Clerk. And so I can update all my details. And then if I want to update all of my, I can become a supporter, I can update my account, update my links and stuff. This is all done through Sanity, in fact. So in Sanity, we have people, and I can go in here and I can see like my profile photo, my bio, my, all the stuff here. And that, the way that gets updated is I'm using Astro form actions down here, which then trigger an ingest pipeline. And the ingest pipeline is pretty interesting. Let's see, open recent, let's get to Code TV, and then we'll open up the ingest stuff, which is down here. And so when we, what is it, update user? No, that's not it. Update person, where does that get used? Update user profile, that's the one I was looking for. So whenever we submit the profile, we kick off this ingest pipeline. And what ingest does is it's like a task runner. You sort of specify things that you want to run as steps. Each of the steps executes independently. Ingest does retries and all sorts of nice stuff so that you don't have to kind of manage all of that on your own, which is a huge pain and creates, it just helps me eliminate some flakiness in processes. So when somebody clicks the button to update their user profile, they send me their ID, their username, their bio, and their links. That's what's on the page here. I've got the ID as a hidden field. We've got the bio and the links, and then the username is being pulled from up here. And then we run a thing to update Sanity. So we kick off the step called Sanity Update User, and that runs the update person function. Then we want to invalidate the Netlify edge cache because that's why when we go to load one of these, when we view the profile, the first time we go to it, it loads from the edge. Oh, this is the wrong. I think I need to delete this this particular one. But okay, so then we do this, then we go back to our dashboard, and now that we've loaded it once, when we go to view it again, it's super fast, right? So that's because it's cached at the edge. So we then need to clear that whenever we make changes so that you actually see the changes that you made. And so that is how we make those changes, right? And then other stuff that'll happen is when you, for example, subscribe to become a user or a supporter, that's done through Stripe. So you come into your dashboard and then you decide you're going to become a supporter. So you click the silver tier here, and that takes you to a Stripe checkout page, which then walks you through the process. You become a supporter, and then once you've done that, it'll kick off this one. Well, it sends a webhook. The webhook gets caught by ingest and then kicks off this Stripe subscription completed, which then fires, like we go get the subscription from Stripe, we get the product you subscribe to, we get whether or not you already have a user in Sanity, we update metadata in Stripe to connect your Sanity user ID to your Stripe customer ID, and then we have your, we run those in parallel, so those can all run at the same time. Then we update your Clerk user to add in your Clerk user ID, your Stripe customer ID, your subscription status, your product name. Then we also update the Sanity user to include your Sanity, to include your Stripe, your subscription status, and what product you're subscribed to. Then we send a message to the Discord, and that's a little alert channel I have so that I get a nice little warm fuzzy every time somebody subscribes. Then we purge that Netlify cache again so that we get a fresh view of the person's profile so that they can see that they're now a silver tier subscriber. And then we run all of those in parallel, right? So this is all the kind of like, that's all through ingest. And as you can see, we're using like Clerk for identity management and auth. We're using Sanity for actual like data, because the other thing about this is if you have a profile and then you're in one of the shows, you get connected to that show. And so I didn't want to have like a user account for being a supporter and like a user account for being on the show. I wanted people to be able to update their bios. Like, you know, people get new websites, they want to update their photo, whatever it is. And I don't want that to necessarily be hooked to, like, you shouldn't have to email me if you're on an episode of Learn with Jason, you want to update your photo. So wanted these to all be the same. So we put it into Sanity instead of tracking it in Clerk directly. We also use Stripe for payments, obviously. We're using Netlify for CDN and serverless functions and edge caching. And then what else are we using in here? Are there any other tools in the stack? I think that's everything. Like I don't think we've got Cloudinary for image like asset management, Discord obviously for the community stuff. I use ConvertKit Kit now to run my newsletter. And I believe that's everything that's in this stack. Let's take a peek at the dependencies. Algolia for search. Here's the Astro stuff. Clerk stuff. They have an Astro integration, so that made that nice. Oh, we're using Mux for delivering members only videos. So for supporters, for that week when you're the only one allowed to watch the show, you will be watching it through Mux. And that's also super cool. There's some cool tech going on there. What else? React, Unpick. Unpick is a wrapper for like the Astro image component. It's a lot more than that, but in terms of how I use it, it just allows me to use something like Cloudinary or whatever. It's very nice. And then, like Grok is the Sanity query language. We're using a light YouTube embed because the regular YouTube embed is pretty dang heavy. A little bit of markup stuff or markdown stuff. Zod for schema validation, and that's really it, right? I intentionally tried to keep it fairly lightweight because I didn't want to make a site that I couldn't update, and I also really wanted to be able to hand it off, and it turns out that was a good call by me because the team at Skill Recordings or Badass Dev, depending on which site footer you're looking at, it's the team behind like Epic Web and Total TypeScript and Marcy Sutton's accessibility course and a whole bunch of great stuff in the community. They're probably going to be helping me with Code TV because the way I want to grow it, I can't do it alone, and they have been so good at helping folks like Kent and Matt and Marcy and a bunch of others build and run great courses. So this isn't exactly a course, but it's got a lot of the same functionality. So we're gonna make that happen, and I'm pretty excited. I think that's gonna be pretty great. So let's see if I can help conjure some version of American Gladiator. I do love that. Code in the Dark meets the weakest link is amazing. I've wanted to do some kind of riff on Code in the Dark. I think that would be really, really fun. Let's see. Why is CSS considered hard by many developers? So I think CSS it's a different way of thinking than other programming languages, and I think that it is very visual. So it tends to be very complicated from the standpoint of like it's doing a lot of things that aren't programming. It's doing things that are more akin to visual art. And so I think it requires a different set of foundational knowledge that is typically not prioritized by devs. That being said, I think the tip for making it easier to learn is to do more of it. Like, don't use abstractions that take you out of the CSS, and try to figure out why things work the way they work in vanilla CSS, because it makes it so much easier to kind of dig into what you start to understand what's happening and not just like what the magic tailwind combination is that makes the thing look the way you want it to look this time. That's kind of my general advice, though. Like anything you want to learn, do more of it just like with your bare hands and skip the tools. Like, not for professional work. Like, for professional work, use whatever your team uses. But like, if you're building something for yourself, if you're learning a new product, you're prototyping something, like, try to do it the hard way, because the process of like building something the long way is a really good way of sort of putting the patterns into your brain in a way that can stick. And that'll serve you, like, when you go to write Tailwind, if you know what the CSS is, then finding the Tailwind class is just a matter of saying, like, what Tailwind class does, justify content center, because you already know how Flexbox works, and you already know that you're looking for justify content center. You just need to know how Tailwind does that, as opposed to saying, okay, if I want to center something, what does Tailwind do? And then you don't know what the underlying CSS is, so you don't know to search for like what the relevant pieces are. It just kind of turns into a bit of a 2 steps removed from the knowledge you need. Generalized version of the site would make a killer starter kit. I do kind of love that. That would be pretty awesome. I mean, it is open source, and anybody who wanted to use it would be welcome to use it. Have I integrated Algolia with Next Insanity? I have not. What I try to do, though, just as a general thing, Algolia has this really good feature called the crawler. Let me get this up here. And so the way that the crawler works is you can give it your sitemap, and it'll just go find content, and you don't have to integrate it with the framework. I kind of love it, because the thing that I've noticed is whenever I build something that's tightly integrated into my framework, it will eventually rot, because we don't have time to like update every tightly coupled integration. Whereas crawlers are kind of designed to be resilient, and they look at what comes out, not what goes in. So if you put content on the page, and that content is like marked up in a way that is semantic, the crawler can read it, whether it comes out of Astro or Next.js or vanilla HTML or any other framework. And the upside to that is that if you then, migrate later on, you're not rewriting your Algolia integration. You're just making sure that you're, if you change the meta structure of your site, like your URL structure or something, you got to reconfigure the crawler to like hit the new URLs. But if all the URLs stay the same, the crawler will just continue to work, as long as you give it a valid sitemap. So I like the crawler because it rewards you for writing semantically proper end result HTML. And that's, that benefits accessibility, that benefits, it benefits crawlers, it benefits if you're doing like AI agent stuff, it benefits the agents in being able to actually understand what the hell you're trying to get them to tell back to your users. It benefits like everything. It like, honestly, there are almost no downsides to writing semantic HTML. And there's almost nothing but downsides to not doing that. So generally speaking, the crawler will work really, really well if you've written semantic HTML. So in my experience, just do that. Small tour of my dev desk setup. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that, because I will be setting up my camera here in a second. Replicating print layouts is actually a good, you know what? That's a really good call. I did work in graphic design and pre-press. And so a lot of the things that I'm doing are patterns that I learned before I ever learned code. And then I'm using CSS to sort of put that stuff together. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. And this is a really good point because CSS, up until about 5-10 years ago, had a lot of weirdness to it. In the same way that JavaScript had a lot of weirdness to it before we introduced like Babel. Before we had things like post CSS, before we had strong standards bodies and the browsers really working together, we needed to do some heinous stuff to get CSS to work right across all the different browsers, especially in like the IE6 days and the, oh boy, you do some amazing stuff that way. And so I think I've talked about this before, how a lot of people learn CSS a long time ago, or they are learning about CSS from people who learned CSS a long time ago. And they got so frustrated with it, they stopped trying. They just decided, you know, CSS is haunted. I don't want to deal with that. And then they've never really re-examined it. And so, you know, 10, 15 years later, we've got devs coming into the industry and they meet somebody who tried to learn CSS 15 years ago and gave up. And they're told CSS is haunted, don't bother. And so they never really do the exploration for themselves. And as a result, everything feels hard. They just instinctively reach for something like Tailwind because they were told you can't write CSS without Tailwind because CSS is haunted. So I do think there's a little bit of like a PR, like image rehabilitation thing that needs to happen with CSS. It is being done really well by folks like Una Kravitz and Bramos and Adam Argyle. And I mean, I guess I'm just naming the Google Chrome dev team, but they've done a really good job of exposing and exploring and showcasing that like CSS can do a lot, and it's not hacky anymore. It just kind of is what it is, and you get a really clear indication is like, is this supported in all browsers or not with baseline? And so you can see the check mark, like this is baseline. Great, I can use it everywhere. It's not baseline. Okay, maybe I should think about this a little bit before I roll it out. Very similar to, you know, it's like can I use and all those, but now it's right in the docs. Let's see. Eric Meyer's CSS reset was very cool. Now you can do like an all unset, which is super chaotic. I don't really recommend it, but and you need just less and less of the CSS resets these days because they all just kind of work. Yeah, Kevin Powell is a great example of somebody doing a great job. Tony Alessia is doing good stuff. Yeah, I mean there's some great stuff. table layouts and inline styles. I'll go one better. No CSS, just straight up putting things into sliced up images. But yeah, okay. Let's do this. I want to mess with my lights, and I want to figure out how the continuity cam, Mac OS, stop auto zooming. Like, how do I make that not? How do I stop my iPhone from auto adjusting camera depth? Center stage. Use center stage. Do I have center stage? I don't know what that is. From the video menu in the menu bar, do I have one of those? I don't even see this. Display sound, I don't have. Blitz phone camera. Ah, center stage is off now. Haha. Okay, did that fix my problem? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, so that was my issue. It was here. I figured out how to do it. Let me do it on this screen. So over here somewhere, there's this, and then it shows you the camera, and then there's this freaking thing, and this is the zoomer. So you can just turn that thing right off, and then everything just works. Magical. Okay, beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted. So now what I can do is let me get this view up for a second here, and let's clear one of these. A background voice? What background voice? Y'all hearing a background voice? Let's see. CSS Battle and I Code This. I remember that. The like CSS Zen Garden was always my favorite. I loved that. Image buttons. Oh, 9 slice rounded corners. All right. Yeah. If y'all just want to go ahead and you know, like, give it a little like, give it a little share, do the things that help all those going on. I don't know what the background. That's too bad. I don't know what that background noise is. Let me see if the mic should be this one. Checka. Could do one of these. Yeah. Well, the AC is definitely on. I don't know why it's getting picked up so hot, though. It shouldn't be. How about that? Did it just get better? Okay. I think my noise gate got turned down just a tiny bit. So now the noise gate's back up, and theoretically that's going to improve things quite a bit. So now let's mess with this a little bit. Okay, so let's start with a desk drawer. I think that's a great idea. Let me know if the audio gets too weird, because I'm like not on my mic right now. So should I hook up a, you know what I can do actually? Give me just a second, because I can make this better. All right, I have this thing, which is a wireless mic, and I just have to remember how to pair it, and then we can Rodecaster Pro to pair Rode wireless, go. Choose one of the available input channels. Got it. Then did that just work? No. Okay. Pair new device, so we'll unpair, pair new device. All right. Check. How's that? Check. Okay, can y'all hear me still? So I believe this is still broadcasting off of the wireless mic, and I've muted this mic so I can get it out of the way. So let me know if that's working, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up here, and I'm going to do a desk tour. So All right. So, I guess first and foremost, this is just kind of this is the space that I work in. So why don't I just go full screen on this one because it doesn't make sense. What about now? Do you have audio now? Okay, so here's what I just learned about this setup. The audio is connected to this other video, it's connected to this video. And so when I pulled that video off the screen, it muted everything, which sucks. Okay, well, I guess let me ask then, do you want me to do this tour again? All right, let me start again. I apologize. Let me do a quick recap of everything. So out here, this is the Web Dev Challenge set. So this is where people will do the demos. This is a big BenQ monitor podium where people will actually demo from. These are the risers where everybody else will sit and watch. We've got a big curtain system back here that actually closes all the way to cover those windows, so we have full light control. This is where Leet Heat was, so the wheel was here, and we had this screen actually over here. Podiums were in the front, different podiums. Then we've got more curtains here. We've got the ticker, which when it's lit up has the timer and like what's going on with the challenge. Algolia paid for the set build. They like sponsored the set build, so we gave them a commemorative plaque, which I am super happy with. Got some whiteboards up here for the demos. We've got this is like backstage area now, so we have all of you can see my pile of rug pieces. I got these from the Nike builders. They're eventually I'm going to stick all these together. Here's my hallway to nowhere. There's this is kind of my miscellaneous stuff. Gear full of like closet gear. Wall of photos and lanyards and stuff. This wall always makes me really happy. You can see all of my these are all the people that have been on the show and stuff. Some art, things like that. Oh, my office mate's coming in now, so let me go this way. And then over here, this is the Web Dev Challenge logo, and we built a feature wall for it. So I just have to plug this in, and then we have this backlit logo, which I am very, very fond of. And then I'll draw the curtain to kind of hide that out. So then when we get out here, right, we end up with this nice looking kind of effect. And then, so these are the Web Dev Challenge workstations, or when we're not filming Web Dev Challenge, it's where people will come hot desk on the show, or not on the show, just to hang out in the studio and work. So if you're ever in Portland, let me know. You can come through, work at one of these stations. But so we have these are the BenQ monitors. I really like these. They're like a 3x2 monitor. So they're almost square, like they feel square when you work on them, which is really nice. Those are sitting on UGMonk desk shelves, and then we've got the UGMonk analog system. So this is like if you want to do your to-dos and stuff, you can do it in there. We use the Keychron. I forget which model, but it's a Keychron keyboard. It's on my uses page. All of this is on my uses page. The Logitech MX Master S, 3S. These are angle poise lamps. I really like these. They're like the Pixar lamps. And then these are Anchor little charging stations. So they got a bunch of inputs on the back. And then this is magnetic on the front, so you can stick your phone to it. So these are pretty slick. I'm really fond of these. We use the Aeron chairs, other miscellaneous, like stands and sort of weird stuff going on there. Then back here we have the area that I stream from, and you'll notice that some of the chaos is just hidden off screen. So this is kind of like my spare stands and wall sections and stuff like that. We've got one of the few magnetic things in here, so I just stick stuff to it all the time. All of the various pieces of swag and stuff that I've collected over time. And kind of see, here's some of the hot sauce from Leet Heat. We've got Sarah Drasner's book. We've got the Syntax fingerboard. We've got some booze. Cassidy Williams made that for me. That makes me really happy. One of the agencies that I've worked with in the past, the team that I made the Netlify Ship Shit Faster campaign, they sent me this Walkman along with some breakfast cereal. This is actually cereal. I've never opened it, but it feels like there's actually cereal in there. And then they made like an ad for this cereal that is super disturbing. Century made a board game that they sent me, which is pretty cool. And then, stuff that I can't find anywhere to fit it, so it sits on the floor. My one plant that I've managed to keep alive in here, this weird painting of me. And then this is my tool chest full of, all the miscellaneous stuff that I use throughout different types of filming. So, accessories, filters, cables, so on and so forth. Books I've never read. And then on my desk, this is a MacBook Pro M1 Max, I think. Still going strong, don't really need anything else. This monitor is being replaced. It's going to be the BenQ RD280UA, which is the one that has an arm, so that'll probably be mounted. I think I'm going to mount it over here and have that kind of sit back in this space here. And so then, this is the Moonlander. I really like this keyboard. There's a really interesting thing about it, is if you look at the keys, you see how they go straight up and down, whereas on this one, the keys go kind of at an angle. This is called ortholinear, and it is apparently very good for your wrist and your general joint health. The trick with it, though, is that it requires you to learn how to type all over again. So this was a big challenge. It took me like 3 weeks to be able to type at a normal pace again. And still I don't feel like I'm as fast as I used to be. I also lost one of the keys. I can't find it, so I just don't use that key anymore. I use the Rodecaster Pro 2 for the audio chain. This is how audio comes in. And you can see here it's got the multi-channels. Right now we're using channel 4, which is the mic that I've clipped to my hoodie. Normally I'm using this SM7B here. And if I need to hear somebody, I listen to these headphones. These are the Bose QC45s, I think is the model. They're good. I like them. I use the A10 Mini Pro ISO for HDMI in, so you can see the cable running out of the back here. That is running into that monitor there. That is an Atomos Ninja V, I think. And then that's hooked up to a Sony FX3. And that Sony FX3 is using a Sony 24-70 GM lens, which I keep at about around 35, looks like about 30 millimeters right now. Big ass V-mount battery so that I can run it for 4 hours at a time. Some cheap tripod that I found somewhere. And then miscellaneous stuff on my desk. So that's the desk tour. That's another, is this one the same thing? I think this might be this is the MX Master 3 for business. For business. Up here, this is an Amaran 150C. I think you can see that. Amaran 150C, and then I have a big softbox on it with a grid, and that's just to prevent the light from spilling. I also use this is a Amaran 100D with another grid on it, and that is to really focus the light. It basically only hits right about here, and then it kind of doesn't reach outside of that area. So that's just to light up my shoulder and stuff. And then back here, you can see I've got another light that is a warmer color. So you can see this one's kind of bluish, this one's kind of orangish. This one I bounce off the ceiling to just kind of keep the background generally a little more lit, because the light outside is unpredictable. And I don't know, if I cared more, I would probably really control that light. But so what I'm thinking of is I think I want to move this light. I think I want it to live here, and I think I want it to be lower. And the reasoning for that is that I've noticed in a lot of my photos that my hats block the key light, and that causes my face to be hidden, and I have weird shadows. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to set up this tripod here. This is a little Peak Design tripod that I love. And the way that this one works is it's got like, it's a little carbon fiber jobby. And it has, right on the bottom here, an iPhone attachment. So once I get this off, if I can remember how it works. There it is. Now, this is for the iPod, or the iPhone. So I'll get that attached here. And then okay, so that's looking at nothing right now. Just give me a second, I'll get this repositioned. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm just going to set this up as kind of like a background camera so you can see what I'm working on as I move some lights around. Okay, so let's see, this is like here-ish, and then probably something like that works pretty well, I think. Okay, so then here's what I want to do. I'm going to just put this chair here, and then I want to move this over here. So start by turning it off. Release the power, and then can I just move this whole thing safely? Yeah, it's gonna be fine. So then I can take this around. We're gonna set this right here. And I wanna bring it down. I'll bring it down even more, in fact. And then let's point it up. Right about at where my face should be. Okay. And the camera's gonna have to relocate a little bit, but that's all right. So then I need my power. I'm going to run this. I think we're just going to take this under the desk here in a way that as long as nobody looks at it is fine. So we'll do this. Get that turned back on. And then what I think I want is switch which the all right, so let's go back here and then let's just try real quick and see how this looks just straight up. Okay, so you can already see, you see how it drops the whole right side of my face into shadow? So what that means is I need to swap my hair light back here over to this side. But I'm already a little happier with how this starts to feel. I think I want that camera to move just a little bit. So let's reconfigure this a little bit. So what I want to do here, I think, is just pull the whole apparatus this way. Well, and maybe how much space do I have on this? I don't have very much on this, so I need a new cable. I have one of those. But I feel like something like that might not be bad. Like it needs adjustment. And in fact, might just be able to solve it by doing something like this. So then we got like that. And you can come back just a little bit. Get that out of the way. All right, we don't really need that in frame. So then that's mostly fine. And then we want to move this light over. So I'm going to grab this light. This is going to be off screen, I think. Just digging in the back of my setup here. That's probably not the safest way to do that, but it'll get us through right now. All right, so here's that light that I want to shift, and I want that one to live right over here. Plug it in there. Probably don't want it to stay there, but that'll be fine for now. And then we'll spread this base back out. And lower that just a little bit. That feels about right. Okay, so let's see how this feels. Okay, I'm not mad at this. I feel like the problem with this angle is it puts that shelf directly behind me, where I kind of want it to be like here. I don't mind sitting like this, like we can just kind of repositioning my Rodecaster a little bit, getting these all kind of, oh, that's going to be That's actually not going to be a problem at all. It's going to be completely fine. So then we got this. I'll put this up here. Put this back there. And then what happens? You'll face me like this. Okay. So in this setup, you need to get out of the way. I don't know. I don't mind this. I think this is okay. I feel like I might need to pull back just a little bit. I don't know, because here's what I was worried about, right? Is if the bill is low, do you see how I kind of get this this type of shadow here? But now that the light is in a different position, I'm not getting that as much. Now the trade-off there is that it's a little bit harsh. I don't know. Let's mess with levels for a second. Where did I put my phone? My phone is back there where I can't mess with levels. I think I'm done with rearrangement, so why don't I do that? Okay, so we're gonna stop that camera, which gives me this back. And then I can get in, we can mess with these levels a little bit. So I've got my ceiling light, oh no, these are backwards now. Okay, so let's kill everything. Right, so we've got the practicals back there. I kind of want to keep those the way they are. Pretty happy with them. Then for the hair light, that needs to come back. It's too aggressive right now. This is going to need a different stand. Okay, so that's the hair light, right? And so you can see it's intended to be very subtle, because like if I blow it out, we can make it really bright, right? But that's not really what I'm after. I want it to be more of a, like just barely picking up those accents and like separating me from the background. You see how it kind of picks up a little bit through here and a little bit of like light through my beard. I actually do kind of want to mess with this a little bit more. Wonder if I want it to be, do I want it to still be lower? That seems like that might be too much. Or maybe I want to go, Let me try it higher again, and let's see how that feels. Take this down just a little bit. Then we'll take this height up. Okay, so that's a much steeper angle on that light, which I think is better because that's given, now we've got a little more separation here. And like I know it's subtle, but It makes a difference. And then whoops. Probably about there. Yeah. And then we've got our key light, or not our key light, but our ceiling light, right? So this one is building that background to be like more or less lit. And so if I bring that to about 50%, what I get is kind of like a cozy room vibe. Then we've got our key. So if I take this way down, it might actually work just fine. Because if I bring it up too much, then we start to have okay, so all off. I think I'm okay with that. I think I want to move. I think if I keep this arrangement, I might swap that shelf. Might swap the shelf from here to be here, and then take this. Wow, it is hard to. Okay, take this painting and this lamp. Probably put the lamp here-ish, like behind me, and then the painting I'll probably swap to maybe be like here maybe. I don't know, I'll mess with that a little bit. Also need to just scoot this whole jobber over just a little bit to hide the fact that that's a fake wall. Okay, so let's, I'm just gonna scroll back through these comments because now I can actually see what's going on. Okay, so yeah, the memories board is huge. I've never really felt like I was a physical memorabilia person, but now that I have them, it really just makes me really happy. Yeah, the Keychron is really good. I do like it. I would be both overjoyed and terrified if I started getting weird paintings of myself. Yeah, the DDC pizza art, I do really enjoy that. Anything with thumb clusters, yes, because I do think they make split keyboards with thumb clusters that aren't ortholinear, and that helps. Does the Rodecaster work as a preamp? It does, right? So this is sort of the strength of this thing is that the Rodecaster Pro 2 has both like an SM7B kind of preset in it, and it has a preamp so that you can adjust the amount of gain. So right now, I'm on a Rode Wireless Go 2, and the Go 2 doesn't need a preamp, so it's on like +3, +4 of gain. The SM7B is on like +65 of gain, and it's just sort of built into the system to make that work. Last time I bought a mouse that wasn't for business. Oh boy. Bit too much light on the Corgi duck. That is true, although we've kind of lost the Corgi duck now entirely. Where can you live? Can you live here? How do I get you into this shot? Because, come on, little buddy. You've got to have a home. Something like that. Almost need like a little stand thing. But then I definitely need this to have, I can just use that as a paperweight. How about that? Yeah, there we go. So that's fine. And then this, oh, you're so close. just need to adjust this a little bit to not be quite so overpowering. You don't have any dimming capabilities either. This is like a angle poised like micro lamp of some sort. And so it's cool and also not nearly as controllable, which makes it like cool but in a difficult to work with kind of way. I think I'm okay with that. I think that's fine. Kind of keeps my... okay, so let's see. Air conditioner voice is coming again. That's, don't know what's going on there. So the SM7B, I think a lot of the reason it sounds good when I'm not right on top of it is because of the noise gate that I've got on it. But yeah, so right now I'm on this lav mic here. And so it was also pointing like directly out, so that could be part of the problem. I don't know. I kind of like not having the mic in the shot though. So there's a part of me that I wonder if I should just keep the lav mic rolling, just kind of have that set up. Mind the fourth wall. We just had it repaired. Yeah, I do kind of like that. But so yeah. So then the cool thing about this would be it sort of creates like a two stage sort of environment. So there's working with, I guess, the trick being that I kind of want it to be over here, don't I? Because otherwise I'm never going to see the chat. I'll deal with that when I get the new one, because it's coming either today or tomorrow, and I'll probably switch that out to put it over here. Yeah, should be good. Overhead mic for the setup is very much in my... So the overhead mic that I want is the Shure MKH50. And the MKH50 is good for indoor because it rejects a lot of the background noise and stuff, whereas a longer shotgun mic like the 416, which I bought thinking that was the right mic to get because it was the one that was like every mic tested, people were like, oh, it's the 416, you need the 416. And then I found out the reason people love the 416 is because it's such a good mic, and it picks up everything. And the pickup pattern on it is like, it's very narrow, but it's very long. And it also picks up things that are coming directly behind it. So you get like some room reverb in weird ways. Whereas the 50 has what's it called? A hypercardioid or something. And it's a different shape. So it's better at rejecting off-axis noise. You just have to kind of get the mic, like I would probably position it right here so that it's only, what would that be, like 2 feet, 2.5 feet off my... Is it Sennheiser? It is Sennheiser. I don't know why I'm saying the wrong thing. This mic specifically... Yeah, let me bring my screen back up to show this mic. So this is the mic, and the thing that's really good about this one is what's the actual name of this? It's a supercardioid. So if we find... So like this is supercardioid, which means that it's got like a big pickup pattern here. And then cardioid is kind of, where's the drop off on these? So they have, yeah, Yeah, so omnidirectional, this is what like a Blue Yeti is. And this is why generally people hate the Blue Yeti as like a podcasting mic. It's because it picks up everything in the room. So you got to deaden everything to make it stop. And then the supercardioid, what is good about it is it doesn't pick up as much off the back. And then somebody explained this really well, and I definitely didn't retain as much of it as I thought I did. But basically, what I was led to believe is that you don't get as much of the like room noise, and it doesn't pick up as much of the back, and so you don't get as much of the reflection that you would get in a small room. So the 50 is really good for this, whereas on a 416, which what's the pickup pattern on a 416? So this is the hypercardioid. And so it's going... What does this mean? Even narrower range on axis. Captures a larger amount of rear information. So that's cool when you have a room that sounds good, and it's terrible when you don't. So this one is a small amount of rear sound, and it eliminates side sound. So it's a little bit better at like sounding good without picking up all the mess. Now what I don't know, I wonder why people don't, nobody's ever explained to me why they don't use cardioids for this. Maybe because it picks up too much on the side, because it's kind of pulling off like that, so you'd get a lot of the room noise. I don't know. I don't really understand any of that. But oh, maybe the problem then is that people use the Yeti without messing with any of those settings. The ones that I've seen definitely don't. It's very, I've rarely heard a Yeti sound good, is generally what I've run into. Yeah, I think cardio would be too wide. So it sounds like, I don't know, I think what I should probably do is go rent one of these for one of these 50s and try it before because obviously this is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on something that you're not going to use all the time. And so, I don't know, maybe I can like sell the 416, which is definitely just sitting here not getting used, and use that to buy a 50. Okay, so we're about halfway in. Let me take a quick break, use the restroom, and when I come back, we can do a little bit of coding. How about that? So, let's see, we'll go back to here, and I'll be right back. Oh, wait, mic's hot. That's a whole... Forgot I'm carrying a mic with me. Let me kill this mic. Okay. Remembered to mute the mic. I hope that it actually muted. Otherwise, I'm sorry. Um, but let's see here. All right, let's think about something that we can solve here. I got a handful of issues. I think Donnie, I think you opened a handful of issues on Code TV. So let's see if we can go address some of those today. So can't see current. Oh no. All right, so let's look at what we can. Odd behavior when updating links in user profile. This is a problem that's bigger than I can fix right now. Consider changing non-font to Pix instead of rem. That's probably a good call. So let's see, what's the right way to do this? I can test how janky this looks by getting into the root and messing with the default font size. Right? And so you can kind of see like the header and stuff gets sort of comically weird as we do this. So we probably want to limit that. And we can do that. Let's get into, we're in it already. Let's start the dev server. And then let's get into the global styles. Let's see, so the font faces, I ended up dropping these, so I can drop these all the way. Because I don't think, I paid for that font, but I'm pretty sure I'm like, if I use it on another site, I think I'm over the license and I don't want to buy another one. So instead, we went with default font and Monospace. And the Monospace is a really cool font by the GitHub. What are they called? They're not GitHub Labs. They're GitHub Research or something. But they made. Why don't we just get GitHub Next? So this is the Monospace font. I love it. It's very cool, and it also has the license on it is like kind of do whatever you want, which is super convenient for me because I wanted a coding adjacent font, and I want to. How cool is that? It's just a good font set. Like I'm very fond of all the work they did here. But so we're using Monospace, otherwise we're using system fonts. We've got all of our color set in here. Default font size and line height, and then when we get into things like, and like with some of these, I want it to stay relative. Like I think a button should stay relative to the font size because it feels the same no matter what you do with it. But things like the header, I think, don't make sense. So we'll fix those. Input, yeah, we want to keep the fonts at the default font and all that. CL root box, that is the, is that clerk? I think that's clerk, and I think that is the, I think that's the, I don't actually think we're even using that right now, because we've got, once you sign in, okay, let's fix the first one that I saw was definitely not what I wanted, and that was the header, and that's going to be in our layouts under default, and I'm going to find header. So these gaps, the gaps I think, the gaps feel like they should be relative to the font size just because that's kind of like a reading order thing. The padding though, grid area, those ones feel like what I want. The nav toggle. So yeah, this one I think we can change. Where's my nav toggle? Is my nav toggle? That's in the smaller viewport, so let's fix that in a second. I want. We're not doing popovers right now. Hold on a second. I want to fix. These ones, I think, should just have sort of a general up and down size. So that's my left and right. I feel like. Oop, not that side. Yeah, the radon is good. Yeah, I think I agree with you there because like what I'm looking at is the gap here. Let's actually mess with these a little bit and just make sure that I'm touching the right stuff. So we've got, here's our nav, right? And this one has a gap of 0.5 rem, and I want that to be relative. I think that makes sense. The nav group, that padding is coming from where? Does it even have? Is that like a default that I didn't unset? No. Nav group. Let's find nav group. And we're just gonna has menu pop over. Kind of just want to change nav group in general to have padding of none. Okay, yeah, we'll let that padding kind of speak for itself on these pieces. And then we have our account. And the account, these ones feel like they've got a lot of breathing room that they maybe don't need. So maybe this one, maybe this one's just like 1 rem. That's still quite a bit of breathing room on the in and out. What if it's like 0.5 there as well? 0.25? See, I don't hate that, but then it gets out of line over here, but then we would fix that elsewhere. I don't think we fix that there. Okay, so I do think I want to fix that. So we're going to go to account, and I want these to have a keep that one steady. But what I really need to fix here is, I think in my okay, so we've got our side, our data, this one here, and then this one here. So these are all kind of blowing up and down, and that's just stretching. So the issue then is these ones are getting too tall as the font size gets bigger. I wonder if I make, because the reason that we added that padding at all was to get them to be the minimum tappable area, right? We wanted to make sure that they were at least 45 pixels tall to be easily tappable. So as they get bigger, then we don't really need additional padding. I'm kind of okay if it stays at the minimum tappable height. So I think we can fix that. Padding should probably always use absolute units. Really? Well, let's try it. Let's see how it feels. So the up and down, let's give it, what's our absolute? Let's just give it like 10 pixels. And then this one, I think, be around 5 pixels. So then as we expand that size, okay, I see where you're coming from. All right, let's try this on the nav. Get into our, let's see, this is on just the nav itself. So what would that be? That would be like a 25 pixel. And then we can try on these, they're gonna have 0.875 is gonna be like 15 pixels. This can be like 10 pixels. And then what do we get as this grows? Because like this still looks okay. I'm still happy with it. And then as we grow here, that's not blowing out in the same weird way. So, all right, okay, I think I'm with you on this. I think I understand where it's coming from. What I was worried about was that it would make, as things get bigger, that like the fixed size would make them feel weird. But I think I'm with you on this. I think I get where you're coming from. Oh, you know what I did, Donnie, that's maybe bad? I set the font size here, so this would break browser font sizes, wouldn't it? So I should leave that off. Because that way we, like if somebody sets it in their browser, yeah, that's, yep. I think I remember reading that when I was following one of the links you sent. So in my root, take that out. And so now we're not setting the font size. And then I think that's gonna break like everything, because I'm pretty sure I made all of these based on 18. Computed font size at 12. 12 is okay, right? It's like you don't want to go under 11, if I remember correctly. And then I guess anybody who needed it bigger would just, Command plus to solve that problem. Just clicking in here to make sure that I didn't like blow any of these out in a bad way. Reader font size will override font size, yes, but I don't know how that works for I don't know how that works for everything else. So okay. How's this computed? This computes out to 12. Yeah, because off the 18, it was like 14, I think, which felt fine. So the default. I'm worried this is going to blow out the whole design here and put me in a weird way. Let's see how it goes. So we've got the header. I didn't do like a typography sheet, did I? I think this is one of those cases where I made some choices, and I probably should have made different choices. And I think I'm going to pay for that. Because I let these sit normal. Like they're just bringing whatever the browser defaults are. But then I overrode them on a kind of case-by-case basis. And I have a hunch that's going to be the source of a lot of generalized pain. So let's look at the pages here. Let's get into this episode slug page. And then down here in the bottom, we're going to have a lot of weirdness. So if we take the whole wrapper, and I guess in this case, we could kind of set this to be like 20 pixels and, or wait, yeah, 20 pixels. And then we'll make this one like 80 pixels. Yeah, that seems okay. Then we can, and that's a wrapper thing, so we can probably make that like, let's try 30 pixels, see how that feels. Feels just fine. And then for the grid template columns, that instead is going to be what did I do here? This would be 15. And then we've got the placeholder thumbnail. Try removing all the font size declarations and see what happens. What, you know what? Why not? Let's just see what happens if I get rid of all of the font size declarations. Nope, that button. Okay, that's not as horrible as I expected it to be, in all honesty. I want these to be a little bit less prominent because they're landmarks, but they're not necessarily visual landmarks, if that makes sense. Like I think this is the visual landmark, and so I don't know that you necessarily need these to be like up in your face. But so that would be, what is that, the H2s? That I think is okay. And then on the people in the episode, probably do the same thing. Oh yeah, that one I definitely want to stay the same. Like keep that one kind of sized up with the sponsors. And then on the people, which I apparently don't have in here. Is that one of these? It is. Okay, so that's not great that I screwed that up, but that's fine. Probably want these to match though, don't I? Yeah, now they're the same size. So lapel... No, lapels... Oh yeah, battery's going. Let me just switch over. We'll just bring this back over because the battery is definitely going on this. Need to charge it for real, I guess. I thought it... Maybe the charger case is dead. I'll plug that in later, figure it out. But yeah, for now, am I back? How you doing? We good? Check, check. Still very quiet. That's fascinating because my audio output here is the same. Check, check. That's odd. Let me, wonder if it jumped over to... Okay, so now we're on the MacBook Pro mic, which should sound like garbage. Now we're back on the Rodecaster, and that should sound much better. Not letting StreamYard touch any of my audio stuff. Okay, so we're hopefully better here. Let me echo reverb. What is it? What is it doing? Check. Oh, what the hell is that? Okay. Ugh, there's just like gross noise coming through on this. I hear what you're all talking about. That's bad. I don't like it. What if we bring this down a little bit so that it's not quite so aggressive? But Jesus, that sounds noisy and weird. Whatever. I'm gonna fix this for real later, but this is probably fine for now. Turn that off. Back to here. All right. Let me know if the audio goes weird again, but we'll hang here. Okay. So I guess this is fine. We'll just leave this alone. So let me actually get rid of these font sizes. So we'll dump these. Dump these. I had my first one bigger, I think. And I believe that was kind of fun. Maybe we bring that back, but we'll bring it back. Legacies. Oh, no. We'll just leave it alone. Okay. Then for the margins and stuff, those feel like they are flow based, so I want them to be related to font size. The padding and stuff is all, I guess that would be like 20 pixels. Font sizes, margin block, yeah, we want to keep those. Where's my other font sizes? Dump this one, dump this one. Dump that one. No, we want that one. And we specifically want this one to be 1 rem. button. How's that button look? Button looks fine. Actually, should be just the one. This whole area feels like a mess. I know what I'm trying to do with it, but I don't know. I guess it kind of looks like a mess on every website that has something like this. But actually, you know, I need that because I overrode the button somewhere. And then episode meta, I think we can leave alone. Or wait, can I make that a little smaller? I do want the episode meta to be de-emphasized a little bit. So, like, I think we can make that a bit smaller. And I think that's okay. Keep that description. Okay, so that's that particular piece. Let's get all of our font sizes here. And we'll do the same thing. We'll go to the series info. And then we'll head back to the series and we'll look at what we get. So I think that's okay. This now feels a little bit tight, so we probably want to mess with that. Line height a bit. Series info. Where's the description, though? I think we can dump that one entirely. Or how large is that? That's... I think that's okay. I like that. And then we have collection info, the select, I think. Do I need that? Didn't really change anything, so I don't think that was necessary to begin with. And then you specifically, where are you getting all of your... You live in what? Play episode button. That's not what we're after. We're after this one, which does not have a class. And it lives inside of series info. So series info. Why isn't this being respected? See, because that looks right. Don't quite understand why that was happening. Use font inherit. And then that should pick up all of the bits. And it does. Okay, I see where you're coming from. So we can go back in here, get into our input. Then what does it do? What does that one do? That one seems like it's going to be chaotic because I think that one has like the button class styles. Yeah, that one I think I need to keep explicit. Or maybe not. Yeah, I think that's okay. Okay, so back out to the collection here. We've got our font size. We've gotten rid of our font sizes in the collection. And when we go back out to it, everything looks okay. We need to address the actual previews, but those are in a separate thing. That button feels like it should probably be a different weight. Yep, that feels right. Okay, let's fix these episode previews. Those are going to live up in here. Let's just get all of our font sizes and try... Whoops. Not like that, we don't. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, no. Okay. One more time. Let's get this. What the hell was that? What button am I pushing and what button do I think I'm pushing? What is that? What is that? What are you doing? Stop it. This is the button. No. It's that button. That is literally the button I'm pushing. Okay, so try this one more time. Much better. Okay. I must have been hitting a different key code or something, or key combo. All right, so this is a little chaotic because these kind of have to be smaller. So I think the title definitely needs to be smaller. Nope. Just you. So that can maybe be our like default 1 rem. And then if that's our baseline, then we can probably set up, what'd you say, use a small for it? Okay, I see what you're getting at. And then we can do the same thing on these. And I think that feels okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That works. Good. Yeah. Okay, so then we can actually go through and clean out these font sizes that are commented out. So we'll compact. What does that mean? I did a thing, and I don't know what that thing was that I did. Oh God. Okay, well, we're gonna find out later what I broke because of that, but we're gonna data overlay text. Members first, members only scheduled. I remember doing this. Okay, so let's go check on, we're going to want to look at Learn with Jason because that has a scheduled episode on it. And these are too big. So we do need, if it is scheduled, then we do want a font size of, let's try something like that. Nope, it's gonna have to be smaller. Something like that. That seems okay. And then we probably want the font weight to go down a little bit. And maybe the letter spacing can just go back to usual. I think that's okay. Okay, so instead of the small for everything, you're saying do, like, set the entire info to 0.8. And then what happens? Seems to solve the problem in the same way, so I'm happy. Good, good, good. All right, so let's click around a little bit. Let's figure out what else is broken. We got to fix the blog because the blog definitely has a lot of hard-coded stuff in it. Table of content. I think table of contents I need to kind of keep where it was. Well, that's pretty small, actually. Let's see if we just try that. That's okay. And then we have sidebar links. Those are going to need to be probably like 0.8 again. Ugh. Ugh. Okay, well, I hate that. So I don't like any of this. Nah, I don't like it. I'm gonna live with it because I don't have a better idea right now. But it is what it is, I guess. 0.8 M, not rem? That feels chaotic. Yeah, that's okay. We can fix that. So back to the episode preview, and we've got... Yeah, that all looks fine. Okay. What if we just turn that off? If we turn that off, it's pretty dang big. So what if we simplify these, simplify those. Sure. Let's see. What did I do for the preview P thing? All right, so these ones probably need to be adjusted a little bit to have instead of, okay, so 5 rem is 80 pixels. And I'll leave that alone. Margin top, that's 48. I'll just round it up. The gap here can be like 20. Then we've got font size is gone. Those are all doing what we want. We've got our post preview P, and what is that? A third of 16 is like 5. And then the bottom would be like 10. That feels okay. Gap on the read more. What on earth is even being gapped here? Oh, it's gapping that. So that's like a 5 pixel gap. Okay. Okay, so now theoretically speaking, when we start blowing up the root font size here, I'll just do it here. These don't start to blow out. This is weird though. Why didn't this change? Is that related to... Does it need to be set on the... That's why. So this goes away. This then lets us test a little bit. So this is fine. Flow is fine. Okay. Inside, we've got, this is all set to 0.8. These need to be tweaked. So let's get into the blogs themselves. That's going to come out of the blog layout where we have our sidebar. Right. Then the post itself is going to have a bunch of stuff going on in it. So our max width should not be rems at all. It should instead be characters. That's not what I, maybe 64? Nope, maybe 70? Oh, that's going to get stupid when I actually fix the font size on it, I think. Post makes sense. Font size on the header. So we want this to be relative to itself, and then why did I do it like that? Oh, God. What on earth was I trying for here? Margin block start should be like 20. Then we get our content going. yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling right now. Later, Nick. Thanks for hanging out. Okay, so then we've got gaps here. So our gap on the top is going to be, call it 30. Left right gap is going to be 50. I think that's okay. Then let's grid template columns. I did 12 rem. So 12 rem. 192. Let's see what happens if I just do 200 pixels. 200 pixels feels okay. And then in the content, max width here. Okay, so that one, I do use the characters when I'm doing text flow stuff. Okay, sidebar links, good. Aha, post content. Now we've got global stuff, and the reason we did that is because we end up using this on another page type, and I didn't want to, you know, the choices we make aren't always good choices. Scroll padding top should be, we'll call it 30 pixels. Margin block start should be, call it 30 pixels. Margin block start here, we'll call it 20. We'll call it 20 here as well. And we'll call this one 10. And we'll see how those feel. That's our, I want to drop that down a little bit. I think the extra space is good. I think that makes it easier to tap things, and so I'm going to leave that. And then font size. One M makes it relative to the entire post content thing, right? So if we were to adjust that, that would make that. So set that, then our padding. Why do I have margin and padding going here? Great question. Great question. So what does that give us? That gives us, let's see, we're not too cozy when we've got our wide bits going. Those feel okay. Let's get something with a code block in it, which would be like here. Code blocks look fine. Actually, might want to cut down on that padding a little bit. Let's call it 15. That didn't do anything, did it? Maybe my code blocks aren't being styled here after all. Are they? Happens if I make this 0, does that? Yeah, my code blocks are being styled somewhere else. Code. I should probably make this the monospace, right? Why don't I do that since I went to all this trouble of getting the monospace font? And that is monospace Argon. And we can make it font weight 200. See how that feels. Did that just change? it did. Okay. Yeah, I like that. And then it'll fall back like I have operator mono installed, which is why we were seeing that. But most people don't, so they'd be seeing one of these. So yeah, we already brought it in, so let's just use it. And then turn this into 30 pix. And then what would this be? Minus 30 pix? Border radius is, I think I'm okay leaving. Well, I guess whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll go consistent. Border radius is here as well. Font size on the fig caption we'll make it 0.8. And then the padding is going to be what is that? 5 pixels. And the max it can be is 30. How does that look? Do I have an image in here? There's an image. Okay, let's go back out here and look at one of these again. I think I broke my captions. And I did that how? Yeah. It's because I bet you don't exist anymore. I bet I quote unquote fixed that. You want to be black faded alpha, but we don't have a black faded alpha, so instead we're going to use color mix, and we'll do it in OKLCH. We will use the black, and we're gonna go with let's start with 60 and see how it feels. That feels okay. I think that, let's make it just a little bit more to make sure we're hitting contrast minimums. That feels good. And then we need to make that caption why does that look so, didn't like zoom out, did I? Because the computed on this looks too small. Computed on this is way too small. So where's my font sizes here? Post content. I feel like I did that because the code blows out if you don't. So instead of, actually, why don't we do this? Instead of, is that actually getting smaller, or am I, that's not doing anything, is it? What if I just make it ridiculously small on purpose? It doesn't do anything. Why? What's overriding you? Font size. Ah, the expressive code. That's the piece that's not being shown right now. So that one we'll set at like 45 pixels. I can't figure out why this one. Block quote. Not pre-code. Post aside, not pre. Oh, this is for the wrong thing. So this one, this would be if code is in a note. Did I put code in any of the notes? I think we would probably just want it to be 1M then, right? Because if we set it to 1M, what happens? That makes it a little bit smaller, which makes I think that flows a little bit better. And then that should pick up whatever the size of the aside is so that we're not actually messing with any of that. So I think that stays fine. Okay, I think this is okay. I think we're okay. So our margin inline then would be like minus 15. Our padding would be, I don't know, we'll call it 20. Border radius, that one we had at 5, but that's not 5. That was like a 2.5. Then font size stays. Margins. Okay. What did I do with these freaking line heights? Like, that's a deeply chaotic way to approach this. I wonder if I did it to try to get vertical rhythm. That seems like the sort of thing I would do. Like I tried to force these to line up. But that's not a good idea because that gets into like full magic numbers. So instead, you want to line them up to actually look nice. And then it's going to be fine. Just don't pay too close of attention. Okay, margin here is going to be, we'll call it 10. Minus 5. 5. And I think the reason I did that was to keep things from looking goofy there. Sticky container, 9. Oops. 9. 144. Whoops. Yeah, that works just fine. Then we've got Mm-hmm. What if I don't do that at all? That looks even better. Why don't we just leave it alone? Not mess with it. We want that margin block start. I want these to, yeah, that all feels good. So, oh yeah, you were telling me to do that. Drop the line heights. Yup. Why not let Bootstrap do all the work? Good call. So actually, so what I'm doing right now is I'm working through and dropping out the rems for padding. So so the reasoning for this is that there are a couple places where you do want like rems for padding, and I actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I might have just broken this. So for a paragraph or whatever, I do want these. I do want these to be rems because it's for the flow of the text, right? So this one I do in fact want to be to rem. And the reasoning for that is that when we come out here and if we like change the document font size to say 25 pixels, then what ends up happening here is this gap stays consistent for like legibility. And like obviously things are getting chaotic here because whoa, this layout does weird stuff. Oh no. Okay, so I need to figure out what I did. Maybe not. Maybe how deep does this rabbit hole go? Because so there's like the command plus thing. Oops, I'm plussing the wrong thing. Command plus, which like zooms in the whole screen. And then there's also, you can actually set the default size in your browser for the fonts. And so like if I know that I always want the font size to be like 22 pixels, then I can set that, and we want that to be respected in a way that's still legible. So on something like this, having a block start that's a fixed amount is actually not what I want. I want this visual flow to be with the whole thing. So this is, it's really hard to keep track of this, honestly. So like my post container, I don't want to have the rem base thing. I want that instead to be linked to 3 rem. So what is that? 48. So we'll call it 50 pixels, right? So that I want it to be just kind of like fixed. So as we add more size, I don't need that to be like, I don't need more space here, right? But I do want this space to be uniform. So for my post header P margin block start, we do want this one to be 1.25 rem, so that as the size of the fonts go, these will stay relative. But for something like this, like the post, we don't really need the gap to get bigger. And this is where it gets hard, because like, do you want the column to get a little bit wider if the font size gets bigger? And I think the answer is yes, but then you get into some other weird stuff. So I don't know. At the end of the day, I think you just kind of got to pick something and stick with it. And I also don't know what like, I don't know enough about accessibility work to know whether the introduction of like command plus or minus to make something bigger or smaller, I don't know how often people actually change default font sizes or like how much that affects things. So I don't know exactly what we're getting into here. Yeah, see, so for like this, we do want that to be 0.5 rem because we want it to be relative to the vertical rhythm of the typography. And like for these ones, because it's like left and right stuff, that's not actually going to be part of the vertical typography. So we want that to be like that, and then we'll say like that's going to be like that, and I'm going to use the right unit. So, oh, for Christ's sake. Sidebar links, we want to, those are all correct. But then here, the margin block start, we do in fact want to be to rem. Scroll padding top, that one can be static because that's just how far it is from the top of the screen when you link to the anchor. These we want to probably keep. Man, this is kind of brain breaking. This is our margin block start, so that was a 0.5 rem. And then the pre, we do want these to be relative, so this is like a 2 rem. But we don't want the padding, like the padding can just kind of stay, that's fine. And I think that'll be okay. The post figure, that margin I think stays. I don't think it does actually. I think that one we want vertical rhythm, but this one we'll leave set. That doesn't need to scale. For this one, we don't have any of this stuff that we're really worrying about. That I want to keep the same. The code. So this one, I don't think we want to do it quite that way. So like 0.1, that was like a 2 pixel. And then this is a 5 pixel. We'll call it 4 pixel. And then let's go look at the code and make sure that didn't just look bad. And that was supposed to have, oh. I like did some weird, oh no, that's terrible. I know what I did. I had a variable called grayest and grayer. That's really silly that I did that. And then I wanted my border to be just a little bit darker. Let's see how that looks. That's too much. So let's do color mix. And we'll just kind of go halfway between the two and see how that feels. And I just want the hint of it. Like, I don't want it to be really pronounced. And I think that looks good. Okay, so then we've got a little bit of a highlight on the code to just make it a little more visible what's going on there. We have border radius there should just be like what, 2 pixels, something like that. And then we can get into what am I using the negative margins for? It is for this bit here. So the vertical flow is for the code to be here. And then this pops out just a little bit of the flow of things. So you can kind of see I do that for the code, and I do that for the images for some like vertical rhythm stuff. Or not vertical rhythm, but just like reading. I want these to pop out a little bit so that they're not quite, you know what I mean? So then I feel like this is all fine. I think we're okay here. I think this feels acceptable. How do I get code snippets in the site? That's actually a great question. Let's look really. let me commit what I've done and then let's look at that. So we've got our this is going to be work in progress because we're not done. But we are closer. And we should probably branch this, yeah? And then we'll say work in progress. Use picks for sizes when it's not like flow related. And this will fix number 6. And then we can push that branch up. And I think this will show up here. Yeah. So then once we actually push that through, that'll go. So let's take a look at the, let's take a look how the code snippets work. So in our content folder, we've got our blog, and where was the drizzle one that we just looked at? So we've got our setup here, and so we're using MDX, and that's because I wanted to be able to pull in figures and these asides, a little bit of whoa, whatever that was. Okay, so I want to be able to just do a little bit of styling stuff that is otherwise a pain in the butt, and so I have fenced code blocks in my Markdown just like this, and then I add the like language thing here. And then here you can see some extra stuff. And so this is a package called Expressive Code, I think. Where is it? Is it an Astro? Where did I set this up? MDX, and MDX is here. And I... Hold, please. Did I not turn this on? Because that would actually be really funny if I was about to try to demo something that's not there. Oh yeah, look at this. I didn't actually turn it on. So we're missing a whole thing. Let's add that right now. So this is like a whole Astro thing. And so we can stop, do one of these, and that's fine. It's going to install expressive code, and then it's going to update all the way up here the all those bits. So yes, I want that. And then what we should see is that something is broken. Incorrect integration order. Move. Oh, okay. So this has to happen before MDX. No matter. That is an easy thing for us to solve. Maybe easier said than done. Holy shit. Just wanted you to move over here. Sheesh. All right. So now that I've done that, let's try again. And now, theoretically speaking, okay, things are better, but weird. But so you see how now we have like this package JSON stuff, and so this is actually what I wanted. I need to I think I can set the theme on this. Regular syntax highlighting, yeah, that's all fine. Themes. And so I want Night Owl because it's the best theme. And it is excellent. It is pre-installed. So all I need to do then is set it. And then out here we should get Night Owl, good. And then it looks like I screwed up my my margins here a little bit. And I need to fix that. Okay, do I need anything else in here? This is looking like it's doing what I want. So the thing that's interesting is like you see how I can highlight things. So like this code is highlighted and this code is highlighted, and that makes for really, really nice working conditions. What else do we got going on in here? So, but anyways, this expressive code setup is very legit, and it's really, really nice. So, okay. Let's fix that little issue. Okay, so what I am going to have to do, though, is I'm going to have to check out main. Let's go to source control. And we're just going to add this. There's no issue open for this, so I'm just going to kind of YOLO ship it. Oh, but we're not quite done yet because we want to first fix that that layout issue. And let's see, now that I have switched yeah, it's still weird. So we want to get to expressive code, padding block start. Yeah. Margin block start. Feels like it should be probably 1.5 rem for flow. And maybe we can even just, like, does that need to be? I don't know what the right way to do that is. I have very mixed feelings on this because, like, I don't want it to get all crammed if somebody makes it really big, which would then imply doing like the rem thing. And you know, I'm pretty happy with that overall. And then if the font size increases, then this will kind of proportionally increase with the font size so that it doesn't end up being like giant font, little space, giant font. So I think I'm going to keep it like that. I think that feels good. And then this feels way too aggressive. Like, why is it like that at all? Did I do this for a reason? Like, is it... Oh no. Where is the... Scroll padding top is going to have to be a little bit of math. I think it's plus like 100 pixels. That's clearly not it. Shoot. How... Need to be more than that? Doesn't seem like it's working at all. What if the scroll padding top is just a straight 200 pixels? Then what happens? It's not respecting that, is it? Scroll padding top. Why? Now, why wouldn't you do... Scroll padding block start. Is it called something else? Am I... Offset anchor, I think, is what I was after. But that's not doing anything either. That was cool. It like forced a refresh of the page. Let me get my screen back up here. Yeah. Whoops. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna... Not going to stress about this because this isn't really what I was after in the first place. So we're going to ignore this for now. And we're instead going to go back to source control. We're going to look at this. That's what I needed. So we're going to add that. We're going to commit it. This we can just get rid of. I don't need that anymore. And then we can push these up. Then let's go check out font size, and then we're going to... That didn't actually work, did it? No, it did not. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to get rebase main. And the conflict is fine because we expected it, and I want to... Why won't it let me just accept the incoming? Or I guess keep current is what I want. Let's do... This will manually fix it, I guess. Fine. And then we want to, what, get... Git add source layouts blog. And then we should be able to get rebase continue. Yes, that's all fine. So we say yes. Okay, so then there are merge conflicts. Are the merge conflicts what I think they are? Yes. Then we continue, and then we push. Now, when we go back out to this change, we should see, I think, yeah, so that pulls in the expressive code, and then we do the whole thing, and yeah, everything's fine. So how are we feeling about all this? These feel a little big. I think I saw on the code, we can just go like a font size of 0.8. Bring it down just a little bit. That didn't do what I wanted. Was it here that I wanted it? Aha. And it didn't do anything because got to start the server. We're not still, wait, are we still rebasing? Hold on. No, we're fine. And now, a little bit smaller, feels the same size, still legible, doesn't overflow as much, which I think is good, and I'm happy. Yeah, this is fine. And then we've got our highlights and stuff work. We have, I don't know if I do any of the insert delete stuff in this one. I did not. But when we go back to the blog, we maybe set up one of these. Got more highlights there. Oh, that was I forgot that. That was one of those like me trying to figure out my own. I hit a weird issue and then I wanted to fix it. Now. Yeah, see, we also get like these diffs, which are really nice. And the really nice thing about the diffs is when you go to select, you don't select all the pluses. So you can actually copy the code out in a useful way. I do, in fact, stream from a computer. Yeah, I've thought about doing more, but it just all ends up being a lot. I think there was still some soap in this cup because it tastes a little soapy. Gross. Okay. So this feels okay. Let's do a quick scan of like what we have fixed here. Let's see, code. And then when we go to the folders view, yeah, I mean, I do think there's probably a little more Like there's more cleanup to be done here, but that was probably the bulk of it, right? Like maybe the footer needs some cleanup here. Yeah, that's going to need some cleanup. Homepage probably needs some cleanup, but I do think the idea of like eliminating most of the font sizes and then setting a container, like a container relative size, seems like the right move, because then it keeps life a little bit easier. But we're out of time for right now, so I think that's going to be good. Cleaning your mouth out at the same time. Yeah, exactly. But okay, all right. So I'm gonna call it there. I think this felt good. We made solid progress. I'm happy with what happened so far. So let's call this one a win. I have a stream coming up on Thursday with Glauber Costa. You should check that out. It's going to be great. I'll find the link real quick. I know you can't see the screen anymore, but look, I can link straight to these now. It's dope. So here's a link to the upcoming stream. That will also be the permanent location of that stream once it's done. You'll be able to watch it live there. You can watch it live on YouTube or on Twitch or wherever you're watching it from right now. Make sure you like and subscribe and share and comment and do all the things that tell these platforms that you like this content and you want to see more of it. That also helps other people find this content and see some of it, which makes this little guy a happy guy. Thank you all for hanging out with me on a Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you next time.